What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and what another day it was. It's another exciting day. We didn't quite know, or I might say, didn't quite know why we sold off yesterday. There is a big tanker blocking the Suez Canal accident, which is causing a major backup. Now, there's something I overheard, but I didn't really put much thought behind it. Oil has been skyrocketing, but it is now falling because of this and actually stopping a lot of supply. So that very well could have been the move yesterday. And even today, we opened up down. But with that being said, we ended up pouring and ripping back up today, which was expected. I didn't really think that we would drop much, although I did short the market on the pumps today. So I still made out, but there was a little bit of resistance trying to push back up. But being said, remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. So we can get right into it, since tomorrow is Friday and it is Take Profit Friday, and get the charts up and see what the game plan is for tomorrow. Now, like I said, we sold off yesterday. I really didn't quite know. I was overhearing the whole oil and the tanker issue, but it didn't really click for me for whatever reason yesterday. Again, I briefly overheard it. I used to follow the oil quite a bit, or pretty closely. It used to be something I used to trade quite frequently, but I haven't traded it in a long time. And being said, even with a negative pricing and stuff last year, I didn't even haven't looked at it since then. But nonetheless, SPY in itself did open up down this morning. It was quite interesting opening. Even though it did come down, I did sell some stuff. I shorted Tesla, shorted Facebook today. Caught some pretty decent moves today for the most part. Again, it would have been a better move if I had just gone with the uptrend on Tesla. There really isn't an uptrend, but it was oversold so badly that I figured it would probably shoot up. And actually, after I shorted it, I was waiting to go long on it, but didn't quite go back into my zone today. But nonetheless, we had a nice recovery today. Things are looking good. Again, everything is very bullish. As far as the bond yields and everything are stable. Are pretty stable right now. There's a lot of other end of month or end of quarters coming up, so you got a lot of different movement of money. I wouldn't actually be surprised if we did sell pretty hard tomorrow again. The volatility isn't going to go away, I don't think, tomorrow or next week. We may start seeing some of it dissipate next week, going into April. Again, April is a huge month as far as the bulls typically. So being said, that is kind of what I'm looking forward to. So again, all my commons, I'm still holding all my commons. I've been scalping a lot just because of that fact. I've been trying to limit my scalps. I've noticed that getting back into the scalping mode, I overtake too many scalps sometimes. And it's just waiting for the setup. That's ultimately what's going to get you where you want to go to become profitable in this industry. Ultimately, if you are in the scalping or trying to make any money in general, right, is to be patient and wait for the setups and then deploy money when need be. So, but being said, SPY, it is pushed up nicely, although there is a trend line here. So we got kind of a new, I can't even call it. I went completely brain dead, but we got a funnel going on here. But this trend is holding up. So I wouldn't be surprised if we actually pushed up into this trend line and then sold off tomorrow, wake up back down here tomorrow. And then look probably mid-morning or something. I think we would probably run up again tomorrow. Again, I got to have a game time theory for tomorrow. It's always kind of important what your thesis is for every given day. I think you need to establish that yourself, and that essentially comes with experience in looking at charts. I think, yes, you do need to have some kind of mentor just to try to get an idea, essentially copy your favorite mentor until you establish your own essentially rules And then once you have your own rules, you find what suits you, then you go with that. And that's ultimately how you're going to become successful. But ultimately, I mean, the VIX, we had that crazy run up today, but it is selling back off tomorrow. Again, it is coming back down to the zone. I would not be surprised, again, if we have another dip, take profit Friday. And then next week, I believe, is a short week as well. So being said, we got a lot going on. But I think tomorrow, I think we're gonna dip tomorrow, possibly for some good positions. I want to see how tomorrow plays out. If we just retest, I think I'm okay possibly swinging. That's something I'm looking at because I think we're getting closer to April. But ultimately, I just want to see where we're at. I may not, only because I have a lot of different positions in commons right now. So just waiting for those to essentially play out. But being said, TLT has actually been pushing higher. It's been selling off now, but it's playing range. So it'll be interesting to see where TLT is compared to the market and the bond yields and everything that's been going on. But it does look like it is stabilizing, which is good to see. Metals in themselves have been kind of wacky lately, playing sideways. Silver has actually sold off quite a bit. Bitcoin actually retested came all the way down here almost to the 50,000. It came pretty close, but nonetheless, it looks like it's popping back up. Again, Powell in his comments about Bitcoin possibly being the new gold. And I know Kathy Woods was on today with Kevin O'Leary as well. They were talking about Bitcoin and essentially the future of Bitcoin and how Bitcoin will essentially surpass gold as being the new gold standard. So we'll see how that plays out. Again, it's much further in the future. I think we're talking at least 5-10 years, if not more. Again, there's a lot that comes into play with that. But QQQ, one thing I didn't like about QQQ today, I was waiting for it to break over this 312 today. It looks like it's trying. It got rejected right at close, and then now it looks like it's trying. So that's one thing that makes me think that tech will sell pretty hard overnight. We'll wake up, perhaps buy the dip, have another replay of today where you buy the dip, another skyrocket up. Things want to move up. You can definitely tell, especially in tech. Tech has definitely wanted to rip. Tesla in itself today, it sold off pretty hardcore. Although we're wedging really nice here in Tesla, I expect a big move out of this. But I mean, it was way oversold today when we came in. I was watching this zone. I wanted to grab it. My gut instinct was to want to grab it out of the gate because it looked like it was getting ready to rip up. But then I waited. Actually, I didn't catch this candle down. It started pushing up on the second candle, which I was watching. Ended up taking Tesla puts here, wrote it down, and then it ended up popping back. I wanted to get back in calls because it was holding here well. It actually didn't sell down here for a while, closer towards the back end of the hour before this candle closed. It started pushing up or holding this line really well. And so I wanted to get into it, but I wanted it further down, but I didn't get that chance. So I missed that, but nonetheless, it was pushing up. It looks like it still wants to go today. But I think QQQ is at a bad spot. I know Apple has been struggling. Facebook, I did take some puts in this guy today. It did the same process. It pumped up to here. I took puts here, wrote them down. I didn't write them all the way down. I wrote them partially down. Again, the market started flip-flopping. I didn't like that, so I got out. And then it ended up actually pushing even more. So it was good timing on that part, although I didn't jump back into puts, and then it came running down. So Facebook is definitely one I want to keep on watch. It's at a tricky spot right now. I think it's better to, again, just let it come down and base more. But we have to see how that plays out. It had a big run right now. Now it's going down. So let it just play down ultimately until it gets to a good base. Airbnb, I thought about taking it a couple different times, had these little pops. I don't like playing this sideways action for scalp. You know, that first hour and a half or so, it's normally you have good liquidity and action in that first hour. But if you're not prepared to do that, a lot of times it's good to wait at least 15 minutes when the bell opens to kind of see the direction, because normally it will go the opposite way of whatever way it pushes. So being said, it was just complete chop in Airbnb. I really like Airbnb, but right now it's in this downtrend. I don't like where the market is, and I think there's other stocks that are moving better at the moment. Apple had a crazy push again today, just like Tesla, but it just really kind of went sideways and died today. Tesla was, I think, the biggest tech stock that moved. Spot is something that is actually really interesting. Something I want to possibly look at leaps in this thing, because this is a fantastic stock and it has really taken a beating and it has just stayed down. Whenever all tech has been moving, Spot has just really been kind of sitting. So being said, I want to look at the leaps for this possibly this week or next. I definitely want to keep an eye on it if it starts moving back up. Possibly just wait until it gets back over this Bollinger Band, this middle Bollinger Band. Give some more support here and start pushing up. Etsy, nothing good in Etsy tomorrow. Disney, I really like Disney too. It popped up quicker. I've been watching it quite a bit. But another good one on the dip. If we do dip again tomorrow, which I do believe is going to happen, could be another one to look at. Leaps or shares going into the next coming weeks. Again, I think it will be a nice recovery stock behind Airbnb as well. Snap, I was watching this one too. I almost took leaps out of this one today. I came really close. Again, the market is so wishy-washy. I didn't want to risk anything, so I kind of just let it go. After this morning, I did take some extra trades that I didn't want to take. I took a little red on it. I still finished the day green, which was good, but I took a couple extra trades I shouldn't have taken just because I got bored, essentially, right? And that's the worst thing to do. And this is another reason why I don't like to scalp. I do like scalping to some extent. When there's nothing really going on, but you have this volatility, it's better to scalp as opposed to try to swing anything, especially when it comes to the option side of the house, or even shares is something else that I think is better to use because of the volatility. But ultimately, Snap, I did miss today. Twilio, I didn't even mess with that today. SQ has actually been moved down. I do like SQ, but the thing is if it's not at a solid support, the liquidity sucks straight up in this stock. If you're not at a good base and it is not in shares or in leaps, typically, or a good setup, typically Square is just not a great play unless you plan on holding for a while. But that being said, Square, I just bounced around today. There's a couple of them. Palantir, I almost took this one today. Had a nice pop today. Kind of upset I missed this, but again, I didn't want to hold anything overnight. NNDM popped back, which these two stocks, this is why I like them, because anytime there is something kind of mad sell-off, if there's any kind of push, these two always start ripping back up very fast. So I know they're fan favorites. Fastly, is that a good support right now? Fastly's just really been taking a mad beating this whole time, this whole month of March, and even before then, even after earnings, it's just been nonstop going sideways. But it is building up a lot of consolidation here. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing goes moving. That's why I have all these alerts. Once it actually breaks back over the 200, I think, again, it has tremendous room to run. Same thing. It's been beat down really bad ever since earnings. But definitely a company I think it has a big future, especially with Roblox and stuff. Roblox actually ripped pretty heavy today. But again, sideways, and I won't be surprised if we make that move down again tomorrow and repeat what we did today is what I'm seeing. Let's see here. There's another good base here today on DDD. I actually had a great move out of here. I wasn't even watching this. I didn't even have this alert set today. I had the zone drawn, but I didn't have the alert because DDD looked like it would have been a good play today as well. Again, when I scalp, I like to just stick with those things that are very liquid, like Tesla. I think those are the best, especially when you have the volatility like this. When the market's a little bit more stable and you know for certain the direction, then it's a lot easier to go into the other stocks and play those for swings. But right now, again, everything is just in bad shape in my mind, right? We don't know what is happening from one day to the next. One day it looks bearish, the next day it looks bullish. So it's just trying to manage that risk and not get too crazy with it and get chopped up, and is essentially what it is, because that's going to definitely ruin things in the long run. Baidu IQ. There's a couple other China stocks that have been hit really bad. I know IQ has been selling off, VIPs has been selling off really hardcore. LKCO, I like LKCO for autonomous driving, although I want it back down at this 75 mark. We'll see if that happens. NIO, played much like Tesla. I think right now, what the thing to keep in mind is I think a lot of these EV stocks have been overplayed. And I think at this point, what's going to happen is there's a lot of normalization going on right now and widening of the market itself. Cathie Woods talked about this in understanding that the biggest thing here is this is expected. And with the rates and inflation and everything that's going on, a lot of the value stocks, which is very bullish to see value stocks be so bullish as of late. As if you notice, there's the airlines and stuff have been pushing really hard, but Cathie did reiterate again today in her live that she had today that one thing to keep in mind is she was talking about how value stocks, 50% of value stocks are going to essentially get crushed in the next 5 years, and so that is something to understand and something to be mindful of. There's some value stocks that I think will push well and still remain as long as they can stay up to date on everything with the whole innovation space and what she talks about. And that's why I like Cathie Wood so much, is the fact that she shares a lot of research on the stuff and why all these growth stocks and everything and innovation are such a big thing, because they dramatically change stuff in periods of time that we are in. With this pandemic and everything that we're dealing with, growth and everything is definitely changing. This is also why I have this channel, is to document this stuff, because it's really intriguing on what is going on right now. We're living through a very historical time in the economy, just in the world right now. So, being said, it is adjusting to these changes that are going on, and how blockchain and everything is getting tied into this stuff, and watching it change before our eyes. And so, being said, EVs, again, I think some of them are getting played out. I think a lot of the weaker ones or the lesser named ones are going to take a major hit here and separate from essentially the leaders in the pack, right? So, being said, VR, the very good company, is hurting a little bit today. Still riding this out. Again, these long swings, I'm not really worried because I know what is coming. There was just so much money for it not to happen. That being said, we could delay another month with what's going on. There's always that black swan, tanker, kind of a black swan thing. But nonetheless, the market is ready to run. And you see that in Apple, you see that in Tesla. On days where it gets beaten down, it just starts ripping again. So just something to keep in mind. I think could definitely make some big moves here. Let's see. Proto Labs looking good. The 3D space is looking good in general. MP. Let me see if there's anything for tomorrow. Like I said, if tomorrow is essentially, let's see, Netflix. Netflix is taking a beating. Roku. Also, this is also another one. If Roku gets under 300, right? And I've also seen that in Shop. If Roku gets under 300, it's definitely a buy for me. If Shop gets under 1,000, it's definitely a buy for me. It is almost under 1,000. These are ones to keep in mind. I know Shop, the e-commerce space, might take a little bit of a hit here going into the summer, but definitely keep an eye on it, because leading up into Christmas, I think with all the stimulus money and everything, I think I thought this past Christmas and the amount of money that was made this past Christmas from all these companies, the e-commerce space, right? They're going to get their chunk of it coming into the fall, into Christmas time. So that's just something to keep in mind when these levels are being hit right now. Just keep in mind, set your alerts, and buy on those dips when they reach those certain price points, because I don't think you're going to see them again later on this year. BABA is still holding pretty well. Let me see. IQ is one of them that is taking a major hit. Let's see. BA had a nice rip today. Value stock again, ripping and roaring. So be interesting to see tomorrow. I want to see if this thing does hold BA. I don't really like typically playing BA, but could definitely be a great play tomorrow. AMC had a nice rip today. Didn't play that at all. Didn't play. I haven't even played GME. I put this up on here mainly for just historical reference. So when I look back on these videos one day, I can say, hey, there's GME. This is where I was at on this day. But WWE, let's see. It's coming down again, waiting for it to fall, take a beating again, and then base out. Again, that's my favorite play, is when a stock gets beat down and bases out. I like to load at that point and then head back up from there. HD has been a monster the past couple days. Walmart been pretty sideways. Target had a nice push today. When had a nice recovery today. Actually might start pushing up. Again, I think those were all based off of lockdown news. That's why they took a hit. The Rockets in Z space kind of going sideways right now. Penn and everything is kind of looking sideways. I don't want to make this video too long because it is going into Friday, and I know I've kind of ranted a lot today. IQ Scaler actually had a good dip today as well. TCAT that might actually have a good play tomorrow. Keep that on the NFT space stock. Funko Pop also had a nice little push today. I completely missed this, but if it does dip again tomorrow, I might look at that again tomorrow. But that is pretty much it, guys. Ultimately, again, tomorrow, I think we're going to dip. I think this is there's a lot of money shifting around. It has nothing to really do with the news. Just people just getting ready for Q1 results, moving into Q2. Have to realize this does happen between quarters. So you'll see a bunch of random movements, a lot of volatility for no specific reason. Just because of that, people are setting up. And so just be mindful of that going into tomorrow and going into next week. So being said, remember to manage risk. And until next time, guys, later.